Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions, 4 p.m. GMT on a Tuesday afternoon. Back to the show's Destaney, Wishon. And Leo, is this the first time, Leo, you've been with us, or the second time?
Yeah, it is actually the first time.
Okay, so no worries. Normally I say ladies first, but Destaney was on last week and a couple of weeks ago. So let's get an introduction from you first. Give the audience a bit of background on yourself, and then Destaney can reintroduce herself.
Awesome. Yeah. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Leo. I've been around in the e-commerce space since 2007. Started as SEO, PPC, mainly on Google, and then I got into web analytics as well. So I got my feet wet into the e-commerce space since my first, I guess, real job. And then in 2015, I started to sell on Amazon. And then since then, that's pretty much all I've been doing. Now, in 2019, I actually got involved into a new project, which is my own software now company. It's called Combomat, which is a software that it's a marketing application that allows people to pretty much automate everything related to what they need on the marketing side of things when it comes to engaging and re-engaging with consumers pre and post purchase, I would say.
Cool. Destaney, everyone knows and loves you anyway, but give a little bit of background on yourself.
What's up, guys? My name is Destaney Wishon. I'm co-founder and CEO of Better AMS, and I just manage ads. Like, that's it.
Yeah. Cool. So the news came down the pipe last week. So to back it up, I'll let Destaney, you take up the story, because it was one of the things that you broke into one of the private groups. Ranner's group, isn't it? You mentioned stuff going in now, and you was just saying up to maybe $1 million down in sales across the board with some of the brands you manage. Do you want to back up? I mean, a lot of people listening to the show have been affected by this indexing issue anyway, but for those who haven't, do you want to lay out the story, and then Leo can chime in as well?
Yeah, of course. So we've all seen random indexation issues, singular ASIN issues, things like that. But I have never seen this happen to this extent. A few people have said this happens every single year, but this was every single category, every single search was affected on Amazon. Desktop was worse than mobile from what I've seen, but pretty much every single top ranking brand was wiped off of page one. And I grabbed screenshots because I don't think people...
Do you have them on you so we can maybe share the screen? Give us an example. Right, if you hit share, let's have a look at these screen grabs. It'd be interesting.
So every single search, I started with Instant Pot because Instant Pot was one of the #1 top selling products on Amazon ever. You search their brand name, they were not ranking with their top products. Bundles were ranking. We saw that across the board. Their #1 product has over 33,000 reviews. You couldn't even find it. Absolutely invisible. Lego kits. This was the #1 ranked product. Again, this is like a $19,000 review product typically. Nowhere to be seen. Like, look at that image. And then the last one I pulled was Lysol, because that's always fun during COVID. We all know how this category is. We know what should be ranking. 2.5 stars, $78, like, terrible product. Every single category, every single, everything I typed, this is what we are seeing across the board. And I could post these in the chat later on, but it was insane.
What did you, before you go, I'll come back to you about the mitigation. Leo, what happened with you? There's something you picked up on as well about if the brand name is in the title or not, in terms of competitors about indexing or being de-indexed.
Yeah, so on my side, what I noticed was it's been a couple of days prior to on Destaney, we have this Facebook group, right, where we kind of chat about these things. And then what I noticed is that prior to that message that Destaney you sent, I noticed a couple of down days, I think starting Thursday or Friday last week, my sales weren't the same, right? And I'm like, something is wrong. That normally happens when a listing goes down or I get negative reviews and people stop shopping, right? But I went on Amazon 2 days later, and I noticed that I wasn't ranking anymore for the main keywords, all the main keywords. And I'm like, wow, something is wrong. So I started up re-uploading flat files. I was checking if maybe something in backend was wrong, right? Something that I did. Anyway, then I noticed that all my competitors for the same keyword were all gone. And random products, 5 stars, no stars, like no reviews, they were ranking number 1, number 2. And so I'm like, wow, hopefully this doesn't last long because this sucks, right? But I got kind of a word of comfort, per se, when I saw that the, competitors stronger than me were actually de-indexed as well. And so when I went then back on the .com, the .ca, this happened on .ca as well. I noticed that the major brands like Destaney, the ones that you mentioned, were all gone. And then everyone started saying, yeah, the major Chinese brands, they're all basically wiped out, right? So I started asking around, Danny, and Casey from Trastio, right? They spent a lot of time doing this kind of research. And Casey said, yeah, we have some theories about like why we believe obviously that Amazon was testing a new algorithm, and that's why they publish it and then eventually reverse the change. But I didn't like what I noticed. What I did see instantly is that all the products ranking had the brand name at the beginning of the title. I don't know, Destaney, if you noticed that, but all the products on the first page had the name on at the beginning, the brand name at the beginning of the title. And I didn't have it. My competitors didn't have it, right? We have just the main keywords at the beginning. So the first thing I did, I went back and added my brand name at the beginning of the title, re-uploaded a flat file. And the day after, as we know, things came back to normal. So what I did, I went back, removed again the brand name, and now it's again just the main keywords. But that's what I noticed. So I don't know if the new algorithm is going to prefer brands, or anyway, make sure that what they've always been saying, that the brand should be at the beginning of the title, is actually a thing right now. They're enforcing it. And if you're not, if you don't have it, they index you, or anyway, you lose rankings for them in keywords. But that's what I noticed anyway on my end.
Yeah. Cool. There's just a message here. This happened about a month ago as well. Lasted about 3 hours that time. Exact same thing. Brand names disappeared from search. For this one, supporting Leo's theory, I had a generic product that we don't place a brand name in the title on. And it went through the roof for 5-ish hours. This was down. 5 hours of sales was over the last 3 to 4 days, kept raising prices and sales kept coming in. Our biggest competitor was 3M. So it's interesting. Destaney, what did you do for the recovery once you had everyone on the blower moaning to you with having heart attacks on a Saturday morning? What did you do in terms of ads for your blue chip customers?
So I'm not 100% sure on that theory, primarily because I was analyzing Lego, and one of our retail brands, has perfect setup of brand in the beginning of the title. We had over 400 ASINs wiped. Nowhere to be found. They're vendor central, so I haven't actually seen the full impact yet. I'm waiting on that reporting to come through with the call today. But we took advantage of it. So we ended up just upping budgets across the board, $49 bids, like dominating everywhere. Anywhere that we weren't ranked number 1 and our competitors, like you said, were nowhere to be seen, we have these dominate campaigns in place where it's single keyword and top of search placement. So it's a strategy we run usually just to control budgets and search term impression share. But 900% increases, $49 bids, and we spent like over $125,000 for one brand in one day. Wow. And when everything came back, it actually did really well. Our ranking increased for some of our top products. We have been able to maintain some of our market share, and it's a reorderable product. So that new to brand awareness was valuable. So we kind of saw the same thing as Leo is like, hey, this sucks. We're not showing up organically, but my ads are here. My competitor's not. Let's take advantage of this opportunity to have an amazing conversion rate, because who's going to buy a 0.5 review product ranking for number 1 when my ad's right there?
Yeah. So what would you do for in the future? I mean, is there a lot of the clients, most people, it was just a few hours. I spoke to a couple of people that have said it's been a few days, but it wasn't, I know it's a glitch, and depending on what level you're working at, millions of dollars is a lot of money, but not everyone is working to losing that kind of money at that stage. But what would you do to mitigate stuff like that in the future? Not that you can stop it, but what do you do to work against the tide?
I say pay attention to it. Like Leo and I were making decisions immediately within the first few hours. I had someone comment on my post and say search, find, buy is a powerful thing. And it was just incredibly close-minded because this was happening at every single listing. It was not a simultaneous like search, find, buy thing. So be very aware of this, be in the right groups. And then we personally were able to make optimizations immediately. Even for our small brands, they weren't getting any exposure. So we made sure they had a stronger ad presence where it made sense. And we were able to do that really profitably still because there was no competition.
Yeah.
So, Destaney, I totally agree with this. I did the same thing, by the way, and I love what you just said. You know, it's really you acted fast there, and so I went into my advertising account, created a bunch of campaigns as well. The result of it was me now outranking some of the competitors because I did get a lot of sales during these days when they were down. So I'm ranking for my most competitive keyword now, number 2, which before I was 4 or 5. And the other things that I did, I actually targeted those ASINs that were ranking number 1 as a product placement, right? So I was ranking on their page. So obviously when people clicked on that product, which by the way, were even more expensive. So I sell, on average $19.99. These guys were selling at $35, $40 with 5 reviews. So I actually created ads targeting their products. So I think that helped as well because people were clicking on their listing, then finding my product with 3,000-4,000 reviews and buying that instead. So I would definitely, I agree with Destaney, like pay attention to these things and maybe have a plan already, like have some campaigns paused, ready to be activated when something like this happens so that you take full advantage of a glitch or a downtime on Amazon.
I have a quick question. So that is an amazing call out. I'm assuming the bids were probably pretty low as well because no one is thinking to target the $90. I searched Advil. The number 1 ranking product was $95 with no reviews. And I was like, please, no one buy this who doesn't know. But I'm assuming you're able to win placements incredibly cheap because no one's targeting them in the first place. Who would?
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Cool. What else is what's going on with you two? I mean, we can carry on dragging this same conversation out, but it didn't need to be longer than 12 minutes. What are you up to at the moment, Leo? What are you up to at the moment, Leo?
Right now, Danny, like I mentioned, I'm focusing a lot of my time on this automation system. So, a lot of is changing in the Amazon space, right? It's a continuous battle trying to be different, to add more value, but ultimately always comes down to ranking or reviews, right? Yeah. But we've recently seen that huge penalization that some Chinese sellers have had because of that, massive network of fake buyers that they had, right? Yeah. So what I'm trying to contribute more in the industry with Combomat, right? It's a marketing platform that provides with all this API automation and things that we've kind of seen in the past. But my goal is always to allow a seller to build their own customer base, their audience, that they can resell to, upsell, send them to Shopify, eventually retarget via email, SMS. So all these different channels that right now we're kind of forced to apply or eventually use different tools to put them all work together. With Combomat, the goal is to have it all under the same umbrella. So I'm having a lot of fun working with some pretty large sellers right now and integrating all these things together. And the latest addition to Combomat has been a web bot. We all know that Messenger is giving a lot of issues. So we actually launched a web-based bot. So now we're having a lot of fun driving traffic directly from a landing page to a web bot. And you have the same kind of conversion rate because they're cool. Web bots are cool because they're instant, right? You get an instant message, instant reply. But it comes with much more benefits, which is basically what the biggest one is not being suspended by Facebook, right? And you can now finally send traffic from Google, from Bing, Yahoo, you name it, right? So, I'd be happy to share a lot more about what I'm finding there, but it's a lot of interesting things. And finally, you have a little bit more control over your testing.
Actually, I need to correct myself. We had Brandon on the show last week. Can't remember the subject now, but he was on and we were talking about ranking tools and scraping, and I turned around and said, and this is why I need to correct it, and then I'll counter it as well, because I said that it's against terms of service to scrape, and it's not actually against terms of service to scrape websites, because Amazon actually goes around the web and scrapes pricing from other people's websites. The bit that I was talking about is that there is like the elephant in the room in terms of when you're recording ranking. That formally that is scraping. Now, whilst that's not against terms of service, it's the elephant in the room. But Amazon know that people have ranking tools, right? And they've got deals in place with the major software providers. But if they abuse on other areas of the business, that would then become an issue and be revoked. So whilst it's not against terms of service, Amazon knows it happens. They don't pull it up as long as you don't abuse on other ends of the spectrum of the system. So I just wanted to make a clarity of that on my comments last week, because I think it's important, like when you say something and you're like, okay, I need to go and check that. And I checked with a few people, and I went, major software companies spoke behind the scenes. So going back to, again, the rank, when they're measuring the ranking, that isn't against terms of service, but it could be if they abuse the service in any other ways, they could end up losing their developer keys. Destaney, what you got coming up?
I will build off both of those topics. I actually posted a video on this aspect today. Amazon wants to capitalize on everything we're doing externally for launching and ranking, and they're releasing tools for that. So customer engagement is one of their new big tools. It's only seen it in action on the vendor side right now. But what that tool allows you to do is to send templated email to some of your customers. And I say some of your customers because those customers are followers. They have to follow your store page. And once they do, you can then send them an email. And one of those templated emails says basically like, check out our new product from Nike. And you can have a template to select what products. You can have a guidelines of what to say. And the key part of this is a new product is classified as any product under 365 days.
Yeah.
So that means you can send an email to all of your followers. So right now we have a list of like 4,000 for a brand. We can send out an email saying, hey, check out our new product, which already has amazing reviews, and then drive more traffic. And I think that's where, you guys mentioned Amazon's aware of all this strategy. They're going to capitalize on it. So I've been posting a lot about gaining followers, and we always talk about building lists externally, and Amazon wants you to do that on the platform too. So that's kind of what we've been diving into.
Well, the other thing, we talked about ethics last week. We brought up add to cart, and a friend of mine sent a message to me. It says, for the record, I read the seller's activity rules, and add to cart is not against terms of service at all. Add to cart does not affect BSR, which is what the reference to in TOS. Is it a manipulation? Hell yeah, but it's not against TOS. Amazon would ban it if they knew how prevalent it was. So again, we were talking about the grey areas. I can't remember the subject it was on. There was something. Come.
Yeah, sorry, let me interrupt you. But yeah, it's like, what we do right now, rather than sending them a request to leave a review, through a bot or whatever, we actually automate that part by using the Amazon review request API, right? So we have now an API that allows us within the bot to change that message, change the request saying, hey, by the way, I just sent you an email, or you should have received an email from Amazon with a request for feedback or a review, right? You're no longer violating the TOS because now you're using the Amazon tool to request a review, right? So, and that can still be automated, but you're by Amazon rules. So I think our job is to always, educate people on how to do things properly, because getting suspended is not fun. No. To your point, Danny, when they allowed us to buy reviews in exchange for a free product, that's what made Amazon. If you think about it, Amazon is all about reviews. People go on Amazon because they find if they remove reviews on Amazon, they'll be just like Walmart. Yeah. But because they have all these reviews, people trust. There's a trust factor there. But eventually, we bought these reviews. Amazon released the feature. We bought the reviews. We went out there, gave away a bunch of products. So we built Amazon. Amazon reviews were built by sellers like us. Then they had enough, said, okay, goal is done, is reached. Now no longer incentivize reviews. Then they launched something else and they allow us to abuse it until when they reach the goal. Okay, now it's promoted, the app is successful, the feature is successful, let's move on with the next one, right?
Yeah.
They know, obviously, like to your point, what we're doing. Certain things are fine for them. Some others, like, no, this is enough, right?
Yeah. It's just, it's where is the line? And I think that was the show. It was talking about the big thing with what was happening with the Chinese companies taken down for the review scam and stuff. And we were talking about ethics. And where a guy on the show, I think it was Cameron, turned around and said that the best way to judge your ethics is by looking at the people around you. I thought that was really good because Amazon leaves so many grey areas within the business between grey and black cat, right? Yeah. With their terms of service and that. But your internal model would say, you know, like this is right, this is wrong, or this is slightly into the grey area. Because, you know, the irony is everyone's sitting here. If someone says, yeah, we're going to do some friends and family, people just turn the blind eye, don't they? Do you see anyone walking around going, oh my God, he's doing friends and family? How dare you? It's not going to happen. But if you do use a third party service, then that's considered. So it's finding that fine line, isn't it? Destaney, well, looks like your brain's ticking over. Go on.
I do have something. A key part of what Leo said, it's just the progression of a platform. Amazon started with their whole focus of being the anything and everything platform. Anyone could throw a product up there. They want to have, you know, a diversified base of products for customers, and they want to provide the best customer experience, right? In order to get there, they needed to have options. Customers needed to come and see 20 different options. If I walk into a Walmart store, Walmart does the vetting for the products, not the reviews. So Walmart is saying, I only want to give you the 5 products that are going to sell well, provide a good customer experience. The buyer does that vetting. Amazon used algorithms and automation. They scaled, they did incredibly well, and now we're at the point where no one needs 400 damn purple pins. Amazon knows that. It doesn't provide an amazing customer experience. Amazon didn't start to give everyone the opportunity to make a crap ton of cash. Amazon started to provide an amazing experience for customers. So now we're seeing that transition of they have the volume, they have the opportunity. I can search for anything and have a million different options. So now it's how do we find those best brands? So I do think it's transitioning more to pay to play. Amazon is strengthening their vendor relations, which has always been Walmart's area to play in, and it's going to get more competitive. But if the customer is still seeing the positive benefit of that, they're still seeing, you know, the more authentic reviews and things like that, then it's going to be a best experience. At the end of the day, like Amazon never said, I want to give sellers the upper hand if it's going to provide a terrible experience. Amazon's here for people purchasing, not people selling.
Yeah. I've got some comments here. Joe writes, Phil here. We know he's a massive lover of Amazon. We love you, Joe. But yeah, for an Amazon seller, it's good, but it leaves you as a slave to Amazon. Bit of a strong words there, Joe. As we still get no email addresses, you're still only targeting people at purchase stage, meaning that you are missing all of the people in all the other stages of the buyer's journey. Agreed with that, we do, but we're on the biggest platform in the world where it's least path of resistance for scale if you've got the right product. It is much smarter to build your own list on social media. Your own list and your potential audience is 10 times the size because you have potential customers in all stages of the buyer's journey. Owning the email list is key to sustainable long-term success. I would then add off of Amazon. So
off of Amazon.
Yes, so you know it's a key component, and Joe's a friend of the show. He's been on there numerous times, and he's brilliant with all the off Amazon stuff, and he's not a massive fan of on Amazon, but people know that, and I respect his opinion. Cool. Is there anything else you want to cover before we disappear? You're off somewhere. Oh, actually, sorry, Leo. 1 second. Destaney, you're off. You're slipping off somewhere, aren't you? What's happening with the girls this week?
Miami girls event. I am so excited. I was like really in vacation mode, and then I've kind of seen all of our networking plans, and now I'm like, I don't know how much I'm going to spend on the beach, but I cannot wait. Expect lots of lives, Q&As, and fun things from us.
I can imagine. And then there's a boat there on Friday, isn't there? There's a long story behind that, but I won't talk about it on the show. Leo.
Yeah, I had a follow-up question actually to with regards to what Destaney was saying. And from a customer service perspective, obviously that's what Amazon is known for. What I did notice recently is an uptake in the return rate. I noticed a lot more returns, and I'm asking around to see if that's just my thing here with my products, or is it happening across the board? But it seems that buyers are more aware of this loophole. And what they're doing, they're actually, let's say they need a face serum, right? Rather than buying that face serum that has, the best reviews or whatever, they're buying 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah.
Testing them all and then returning the other 4 that they don't like, right? So this is obviously a problem for us sellers, right? Because we can just borrow things from Amazon now and return them after we're done. Really, that's sometimes what I do as well. But are you guys seeing the same thing? And what would you think, a good solution could be to this issue? Because a lot of returns are not good for us. And we do know, and by the way, the reason why I think this is becoming more frequent right now is because I don't know if you guys have seen some news articles released by some newspapers, major publications that actually have exposed this loophole on the Amazon side. So not this loophole, this issue where Amazon just tosses everything. It's too expensive for them to go through each return and basically see, okay, this one can be resold and this one just is damaged, right? So they just load containers of brand new items and just dump them. So that's a major issue that Amazon has right now, and they're facing. And I don't know, just wondering what you guys think of this.
Destaney?
I'll say I think the solution has to come from Amazon's end. I think, what you mentioned combined with just so many more people moving to .com last year when retail got shut down. And then you have probably a slightly older demographic moving onto the platform, which is probably more known for just returning things that they don't like. And then realizing if I return it, nothing actually happens. I mean, what Amazon's telling people to keep products too, instead of even going through the process of returning them. So I think personally, it's got to happen on Amazon's end. Like they're going to have to put a shut to it. I think it's as easy as, and they have the buyer metrics. This buyer has this many returns. After 2 to 3 returns, it's like, hey, something's going on. There's a pattern here. You're done. Yeah.
No, I agree with Destaney. There's not much you can do other than get on with it. You think it's become more and more difficult to sell on Amazon since 2015. All that's done is creates more of a moat. And it means that you have to be at a higher level to compete, right? Mm-hmm. Look at every person, everything that we piss and moan about all the time, restrictions on SKUs and everything else. What happens? We find a way around it. What happens when a URL is not working in terms of ranking? We find a way around it. What happens if a PPC campaign is not going in the right direction? We adjust, we learn, and that's what we do.
Yeah. I agree. Higher moat and more economies of scale.
Yeah, agreed. Mm-hmm. Cool. Destaney, best way that people can reach you?
Check us out on LinkedIn, Facebook, and if you're interested in better AMS, you can go to our website.
Cool. Leo?
Yeah, also on LinkedIn and Facebook mainly. And if you guys want to have some fun on Clubhouse, we are pretty active on Clubhouse as well.
Cool. Guys, I'll be back here again tomorrow. Take care of yourselves and your family. Much love, and I'll see you then soon. Take care.
Thanks.